guys, and welcome to episode 221 of the Game of Death podcast. I'm your host, Chris, and back from his trips overseas, Mr. Kaleb.
What's going on, guys?
What's going on, buddy? We missed you. 2 weeks. Well, 1 week we didn't have a show, and the other week we had Austin, who used to be part of the R&M podcast, on, which, that was fun.
He's not part of R&M anymore?
No, he went back. He's in college. He just did a transfer, and you should listen to that episode. It was actually pretty good.
Let's talk about
we talked about life and
did you?
Yeah,
Did you? It's a good podcast.
I really enjoyed it. We talked games and then we talked life because I've known Austin since he was like a sophomore in high school, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm transferring to another college," and I was like, "I feel so old."
Yeah.
So,
okay.
It was a good episode.
I can dig it. It sounds pretty good. Sounds like there was some healing. It's good.
Some healing.
There was some healing. Talk things out. No, it's good. It's good. Austin's a good guy. I haven't talked to him in a while, but I still see him. We're still friends on Facebook and stuff. So I see him doing stuff. He's cool.
He's one of the few people that isn't a random internet friend, because I've met that guy in person.
Have you really?
Mm-hmm. I met him and Coach and Seth and Elijah, who used to be like pretty much R&M at PAX East 2 years ago.
And then R&M was just him and one other guy for a while, right?
Him and Coach, I think, for a little while.
And who's the guy who was there that you had personal disagreements with when you were on their podcast?
I was never on R&M.
Okay. Maybe it was a different one.
There was a different podcast that I was on.
Okay. I'm trying to remember. I'm getting my podcast mixed up.
R&M spun out from an old podcast that Italian gamer, this guy named Chris, and Austin, and Flip, and some other people did. And that was the podcast that I was on, and I didn't get along with Chris.
Okay.
Yeah.
with the other Chris.
There can only be one motherfucker.
They can only... Yeah, the other Chris. I mean, our Chris literally had to change his name to Hollow so that he wouldn't fight with you, but...
No, his real name's Hollow, and his
real
nickname
name
is Christoph.
Okay, I'll go with that. We'll go with that lore. That's some solid lore right there. Anyway.
So how was London, England?
London was a lot of fun. This was probably the best trip that I had with my dad so far to London.
Oh, you went with your dad?
Yeah, I was going for a couple days to the office, and well, it was kind of like both happened at the same time. Like, my dad wanted to go to London again, and my boss was like, "Cool, because we need you to go hang out in the London office for a day or two to go help train your new counterpart that we just hired, and we'll pay you, and you can take him out to dinner and everything." And I was like, "Oh, okay, I'll do that." So I did. It was fun. But it was a good trip. So I worked for one day, but the rest of the day we were just cruising around the city. My dad's into a lot of the really touristy stuff, which I am not. Outside of some of the history, I do like the British history stuff. But we spent a lot of time cruising around neighborhoods and just kind of enjoying the city itself, rather than just focusing on touristy stuff, which was cool. So we just drank at a lot of pubs, ate a lot of pub food. It was a good time. Super mellow. Super mellow.
Super mellow.
Yeah. And I enjoyed it. It's good times.
Good.
And then I went back to work today, just right back into it. Right back into the stress of the work, but that's okay. Same shit, different day. It is what it is, you know. But it'll be good. It was a nice break. Ready to keep going with my job and do what I have to. But what have you been up to the past couple weeks, buddy?
I beat most of the Kingdom Hearts games. I have one game left.
Yeah.
Which is Birth by Sleep. But I had to put down Kingdom Hearts for a little while, because I was about to go insane if I had to play another game where I got to attack things with a key-shaped sword.
If you had to learn about Nobodies 3 more times?
Well, it's not Nobodies. I'm playing Birth by Sleep, which is supposedly one of the best ones for story.
Yeah.
And I started playing. I played like 15 minutes of it, and I was like, I need something challenging and different. So I decided that last night or the night before, I decided, hey, I'm going to play Dark Souls 3. Dark Souls 2.
Nice.
And since I bought Scholar of the First Sin when it was on sale a while ago, I was like, alright, let's play this. And I was doing terribly at the game, and then you helped me. You came on. We share played last night.
Yep.
And you were like, yeah, talk to that lady. She's who gives you the Estus flags and lets you level up. And I'm like, I have a dude who's like 20 hours into this game.
Who's not leveled up.
Not leveled up and doesn't have an Estus flask.
That's right. That's the real Dark Souls. Doesn't tell you shit.
And I was like, okay, cool. So we went, I got through, 2 areas last night with you?
You beat Hyde's Tower Flame and the Dragon Rider, who's kind of he's not very hard, and the Giant, who is also not super hard. But their first few bosses, you're already getting into it now. It sounds like.
So I came home from work today, and I beat the Wharf, which, I deal a lot of damage, which
is nice, yeah.
And I used one of those, things in the mouth thing to make this giant light come down so the Cthulhu monsters all ran and hid.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that hard once I figured out, what was going on. Went on the ship, fought the boss. And I died once because I rolled around to his back and he fucking destroyed me. His sword side just decimated me.
Yeah.
But I kept him, the second time I fought him, I kept him, facing the mace side, and he would hit, and then, jump and, be stunned for a second, and I get 2 full 6-hit combos in.
Yeah.
So that was fun. And now I'm in the prison.
Prison is super fun.
I had to use a twig to get past the statue to continue on.
What's it called? The Fragrant Branch of Yore.
Yep, I had to use one of those to get, inside this little hut thing. And I went through the little mist thing, I fell down on this little platform, and I got my ass handed to me by this dude on this tiny platform with a spear.
Nice. Yep, that's the best deal. But you got to one of the bosses of it. Who did you have to fight?
That's who I was fighting. That's who I'm talking about.
You were on top of a thing and a guy with a spear showed up.
I went through through the mist, and
yeah.
I guess I came out where there was no floor, and I dropped down, and I'm on this little ledge, and there's this big dude that looks like IG-88 with a spear.
Yeah.
And I was doing okay against him with my whip until my whip broke.
Are you whipping it? Whipping it good?
My whip does 264 damage.
Whip is good. It's good. It's a good weapon if you can use it well. It takes a lot of dex, but if you can do that, you can deal some serious damage.
Well, I now have 20 strength, 20 dex, 18 endurance, and 18 vigor.
So, did you see the other guys in that fight?
No.
Okay, because that is the triplets. It's literally just 3 dudes, and that's the fight. So you land on that ledge, and there's one dude up there, and ideally you can kill that dude before the other 2 guys show up, and then just drop down to the bottom to the main battle area, and then try to fight it out with those 2. That's the ideal strategy. It doesn't always work that way. It's not a fun fight, honestly. So I won't go off on a tangent too much about Dark Souls 2, but I will say, I think Dark Souls 2 gets a bad rap as far as a lot of people not liking it because it's not the same as Dark Souls 1. I think it's still a really good game on its own merits. That being said, there are some things, some very serious criticisms that I will allow. One of them being that boss. Actually, you'll you'll understand when you get further into that fight. It's literally just 3 dudes. Like, it's not even like well thought out. It's just 3 fucking dudes with spears. There's no lore. There's no nothing. It's just fight 3 dudes. It's not
fight 3 dudes.
It's not intelligent, and it's like a lot of the fights in Dark Souls 2. You can tell they were basically trying to remix the Ornstein and Smough fight. Do you know what that one is from Dark Souls 1? You've heard of it?
Yes.
And so a lot of the bosses are just like, whatever, how about you just fight 3 dudes? I don't know. Maybe you fight 2 dudes that are stuck together. And maybe you fight 4 dudes. Like, it's not clever. There are some bosses that are just like a total pain that are not intelligent or fun. But most of the game is pretty fantastic, besides some of those bosses and some other things I can name. Get past that guy, and you'll be on a good run for a while.
My biggest complaint with Dark Souls 2 is how much more streamlined Dark Souls 1 feels in comparison to Dark Souls 2.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I cannot find torches in my inventory.
You can't find torches?
I know I have them. I bought one so that I could light some of the torches in the wharf before I brought the big thing down because I couldn't see shit in the wharf. It was so dark.
I'm pretty sure you picked up, like, 2 of them at some point while I was watching you, actually.
And I cannot find them in my inventory. If I want to level up, I have to travel back to the starting area to talk to some chick to level up. And I'm like, can I just level up at a goddamn bonfire like I can in 1? Please?
No, you can't do that.
Like, it's very reminiscent of Bloodborne, where you had to go talk to the doll to level up.
Yeah, and Dark Souls 3, where you have to talk to the Shrine Maiden, is the same thing. But they're not the most fun. Definitely.
I'm like, oh, I have 16,000 souls. I don't want to travel back to the starting area to level up and buy the life gems that I need, to then travel back. It's just dumb. Like, it's like, because I get in a groove with Dark Souls. Like, I get in a groove where I'm like, okay, I'm grooving, I've got my combat down, like those stupid Hodor enemies in the jail, and I'm like, alright, stupid Hodor enemies, I understand how to fight you, just keep you guys at a distance, got it.
Hodor.
Well, that's what they look like. They look like fucking Hodor with sights.
I mean, you're not wrong. It's pretty funny, though. Yeah, well, so that's kind of an interesting criticism of just the Dark Souls series in general, is that they're always looking to try to do some things, like, slightly better and to tweak things, but because of that, every single game, certain mechanics change, either for the better or for the worse, and you can't really tell until you just start playing it and you start digging into them. Dark Souls 3 is the best mechanically as far as like how well put together it is, but it has not the best lore. Dark Souls 2 is all over the fucking place. There's some great things, there's some not so great things about the mechanics.
Is Dark Souls 1 on PS4?
No, Dark Souls 1 and Demon Souls are the only ones that haven't made the jump. Okay. But I think Dark Souls 1, there's been rumors for a couple years that they're going to remaster it, because, you know, why wouldn't they? But I guess it still hasn't been officially announced.
You know what I'm realizing, though, as I'm playing Dark Souls 2, because I haven't touched a Dark Souls game since Dark Souls 3, since I beat Dark Souls 3.
Yeah.
But I played through Neo, and I still play that on and off every once in a while. That's my favorite game so far of 2017. And the combat in 2 isn't that different from Neo.
I could see that.
It's very much like patient sword, like my character is very much patient swordplay, which is what Neo's combat is.
Yeah.
And finding an opening and then just going ham when you have an opening and then dodging away.
Exactly.
So I'm finding this game a lot easier than when I played Dark Souls 3, because before I played Dark Souls 3, the only other thing that I had played was Bloodborne. We didn't play Dark Souls 1 until way later after I'd started Dark Souls 3.
Yeah. And, one of the great things about Neo, which is a fantastic game, that was like February of this year. I still need to beat that game. One of the great things about Neo is that because it's from an outsider company, like it's not, it's not obviously the people who made Dark Souls.
Right, it's not From Software, right?
Yeah, they can look at what works and what doesn't, and then kind of tweak things according to their needs, which they did incredibly well. Which is one of the reasons why that game is so good, as opposed to like, as much as I love From Software, just like throwing a bunch of shit at the wall every time they make a new Dark Souls game and seeing what sticks. Which is sometimes good and sometimes bad.
My biggest problem, though, with Neo that I wish that they had kept from the Dark Souls games was, like, the set weapons.
Yeah, I wish I agree with that, too, especially because in Dark Souls 2 actually, specifically, of all the Dark Souls games, has some of the goofiest bullshit as you get later and you find crazy weapons. There's some weird-ass stuff you're going to find that probably will not be of any use, but is interesting. There's just a lot of really unique weapons, as opposed to Neo, where there's just 4 classes, and you just upgrade your stats, but it's pretty much the same movesets.
Right, but you find different weapons, and the rather than like, oh, well, this is where you find, like, the flame katana, it's like, oh, you could find a flame katana after the first enemy you kill, because it's, like, random loot drops.
Yeah.
But you have to fight something over here and level up your gear. Like, you don't level up your gear like you do in Dark Souls, but you do at the same time. But you also could find, like, you could spend a bunch of, like, I think there's spirits or ki in Neo. You could spend a bunch of your ki to level up equipment and then go fight a boss in the next level, and a better piece of equipment drops that's better than your leveled up gear that you just leveled up.
Yeah, they didn't seem to me, at least what little I've played, which is like a good 20 hours at least, they didn't seem to be a lot of reason to upgrade your weapons as opposed to just waiting for new ones to show up.
Neo has a lot of endgame, which I hear the Dark Souls games don't have.
2 does, but that's because it has so many DLCs, but normally they only have a couple that aren't super long. So Neo, well, it has a different kind of endgame, I guess I'd say, but I think most people prefer Neo's.
Like, Neo's endgame is like, here are a bunch of blood levels, and here are some levels that you can only unlock once you hit max rank, and here's a bunch of other shit that you can do, and it's like, Dark Souls, it's like, oh, here's the DLC, and once you beat the DLC, that's it.
Well, so, once you beat the DLC, you can go into New Game Plus, which is everything which is just stronger, which is kind of similar, but not the same as Neo's blood levels. I will say, actually, this is kind of one of the most unfortunate things about Dark Souls 2, is that it actually does have a pretty in-depth, like, New Game Plus. Like, there are a ton of differences, if you end up getting that far. Most people don't, because it's Dark Souls 2. So, I would suggest you do, because I've heard of some crazy, goofy bullshit that will happen in New Game Plus that you would never even think of in the base game. Just as far as enemies you fight and where enemies show up and things like that, I've just never gotten that far, because it took me, like, fucking 80, 90 hours just to beat all the goddamn DLC, because it's a fucking nightmare. But,
like,
would recommend it.
Like, right now, my goal is to just beat it.
Yeah.
Because if I can beat this, then I've beaten Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, and I've pretty much beaten Bloodborne. The only thing I've not done in Bloodborne is beat the last boss. I consider it beaten.
It's fair.
So it's one of those things where it's like, now do I pull out the PS3 and I go back to Dark Souls 1? And that's where I am, because I'm like I understand everybody's draw to these games. They're thinking man's game. My problem with Dark Souls 2 is there's times where, like, the enemy will clip through the wall and still be able to hit you.
Yeah. That might be in most of them.
Which pissed me off.
There's some jank, yeah.
Like, I was fighting
some jank.
I was fighting dudes in the wharf right before the ship, and there's those 2 Cthulhu monsters. Dawn calls them spider dudes. And I have the lantern, so they're inside, and I'm, like, poking at them with the strong of the flame sword. And then running back to the corner where they can't get to me, and they won't come out because of the light. But they're attacking me through the wall and hitting me.
Oh, yeah, they're swinging their giant arms through that wall. Yeah.
And I'm like, this is bullshit.
It's not great. You can do that too in certain circumstances, but it's not great. Um, it's Dark Souls 2. That's all I can say. It's fun. It's not as good as the others, but it's still a really solid game. It has some weird quirks. It has some interesting things.
Go ahead.
It's weird.
The other game that I picked up and tried to play is a game I know that you are playing right now, and that's No Man's Sky.
That is No Man's Sky. Did you end up stop playing it?
I did stop. But I'm playing Dark Souls.
Yeah, that's fair. It's worth it. I'll allow that.
So, I was like, okay, I'm gonna start a new game and do all this cool stuff and see what's going on here, and it's still the same fucking game.
They have made some decent changes here and there, but at its core, it is very similar, even if there's just more of it.
Now I have missions, so now I have a direction to do something that doesn't fucking matter. Yay!
I mean, if you want to do the missions, they get you money and stuff. I mean, that's kind of the thing, like, No Man's Sky is definitely not a game for everyone, and I definitely realize that the more and more I play it, because I am enjoying it, but I can imagine a lot of people not enjoying this game. Playing it right now, actually. Just because it's very mellow, it's very methodical, it's very glacial in its pace and very slow. You know, it's for exploration and whatnot. And there is a progression, but it's very slow as far as like getting better equipment and getting better weapons and doing all that kind of stuff, and it takes forever. So I can understand why people wouldn't. The funny thing is, though, I mean, I like this game for the same reason I like the Dark Souls games, but that's because I play the Dark Souls games in a very similar way. Like, I map out what kind of character I want, and I'm really careful in like when I get my weapons and how I move through the game and what I put like every single point into as I'm moving. And I like to think out a character like that in Dark Souls, and then play through with them.
Right, very metagame.
Yeah. Whereas that is all No Man's Sky is. It's just like that slow, methodical planning out of every move, which can be fun if you're into that. But it's like, it's definitely not a game for everyone. I mean, I could see some people liking it. Obviously, I like it, but no shame in people not liking it. And that's probably one of the reasons why I liked it in the first place, even when other people didn't, was just because at the core, it was still kind of fun to do that stuff for me. It's still fun to explore and find weird planets and, do mining of things, but it's maybe not going to win any awards. I don't know.
It'll win some awards, don't worry.
You think so?
It won some awards last year, like most disappointing game.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. I mean, in a world where we have farming and trucking simulators, I can see this having a niche. But it is a niche. It is not. It's not like a game that everyone's going to love and jump on.
I really liked Space Combat, though. That was new.
Space Combat's kind of fun. I find I do surprisingly well when I literally turn off all of my engines and just float in one place and then just point and shoot at everything that's around me, which is the worst way to do Space Combat, but it works, so, why change it?
I did that. I played like 24 hours or 25 hours of a new game. And I got a mission to find this Artemis person, and I did like the first part of that quest chain, and then I realized that the quest chain is like super ridiculously long.
Yeah, I actually ended up doing a bunch of it right after we talked about it, and now I'm at a point where, as part of the quest, I have to create this really complex item, and I have to be like much further in the game in order to do it. So it's kind of just like, well, back to exploring for a while and, eventually getting good enough equipment to make that kind of crazy shit. It's like, it's like a much slower Minecraft, but with more exploration and less building. So
I tried to build a base. I was terrible at it. I was like, okay, this is dumb.
I'm not great at the base building either. It's a little weird. I only care about it in as much as it can get me better stuff, but it seems a little tacked on. But a lot of the other stuff generally seems very well thought out as far as the missions they put together and like the story they've added to it and other things here and there. It's just, again, if it's not your kind of game, that might not necessarily make it any better for you.
All right, spoilers for this Artemis quest, by the way.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like you're about probably where I stopped doing the quest. I was really into this. And you're building and you're going to all these planets and you're activating all these beacons.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go back and then she's like, oh, I guess I'm not on a planet. I don't know where I am. I went through a door where the Watchers come from. And I was like, I'm really interested. And then I realized that there's probably like another 12 hours to this storyline. And I went, it's not worth it.
That's probably fair. I think it's one of the main storylines in the game because it seems like it dovetails pretty nicely with a lot of the like mechanics they've added in newly. So it makes sense that it would be there just to mostly teach you how to do things, especially more complex things in the game. But it goes on for a while, and so Artemis finds out he's stuck in, or he or her, or I'm not sure.
I call her her because if Artemis always reminds me of Ready Player One.
That's fair. Which we got a trailer for recently, right?
A while ago we got one.
I was gonna say when that was at least a couple weeks ago. Artemis is in the nether dimension and like dies or something mid-transmission.
We don't know if she's dead.
Yeah, but something very bad happens apparently, and you end up meeting. Did you meet Apollo yet?
Yeah, of course I did, because it's Ready Player One's fucking storyline.
Apollo's kind of interesting. He's a weird robotic guy. He gives you some missions to help you get into the nether dimension, and you do, and some weird stuff happens that I'm not entirely even sure about. And then you leave, you get kicked out of the nether dimension, and you meet another character who's this other godlike traveler who's like, oh, you can save Artemis, you just need to build this thing. And in order to build this quote-unquote thing, you need to get really complex high-level materials, which you can only get through really complex high-level equipment. And so I was kind of like, well, I'll just kind of put that on the back burner for now and just do what I feel like.
Yep, that's exactly where I stopped.
Yeah, and it's frustrating to be able to hit that point and then just like, because it feels like there are certain things, certain like equipment advances that I feel like I should be getting and I'm just not, and it's kind of confusing, but I'm still enjoying it for the most part.
I'm really mad at the inventories. The inventory.
When
that game first came out, it was really easy to find inventory slots.
The pods?
The pods.
Yeah.
And now it seems like they're impossible to find.
I wouldn't say impossible. I found quite a bit, but they're not as easy. They've recently been making like updates literally as I've been playing, honestly, like the past couple weeks to tweak things. So it might be easier for you now. I mean, you've built the beacon things, right, that show you where certain things are on the planet, like pods or monoliths or things like that?
No, I didn't know I could do that.
Oh, well, I should show you that, because you can literally just put down a beacon and then use it and see where a lot of stuff is nearby and then go find it. They also made it, this was infuriating until they fixed it, and I'm glad they did, because I was about to quit the game. If you were on a planet and you like used your scanner to try to find something of interest, like a base or something you could go hang and go check out for gear and loot and stuff, it would just randomly pinpoint some place on the planet and be like, here, go there, even if it's like 2 hours of flying away. And it was just like, whatever, go find it. And then you leave the planet's atmosphere to try to cut down some time, because you can go faster when you're like outside of the planet. Yeah. And then when you did, it would go away from your map. So you'd have to go down again and scan and see if there's anything else kind of nearby. And sometimes it'd be on the other fucking side of the planet, because it'd do the same fucking thing. And you just wouldn't find anything unless you were like very carefully flying slowly and looking, which is bullshit. But now they've made it, you can just scan while you're flying, and it'll pick up like a bunch of stuff nearby, and you can kind of just bounce from point to point, which is kind of cool.
I must have played before they updated that, because that was one of the problems I was having.
It was not fun, I admit. Like, that was a problem.
I'm sitting here, I'm scanning, I'm like, oh, there's a point over here. Oh, there's a point over there. Okay, I'm going to go to it. And I'd come out of the atmosphere to go, like, you know, you can go like 5,000 miles an hour if you're just outside the atmosphere.
Exactly.
And it'd be like, wait, where'd the fuck the point go?
Yeah, it's the fucking, it was the fucking worst. And it took me a while to figure out what was happening, because I thought it was one point that I was just overshooting over and over again. And then I was like, oh, I'm fucking on the other side of the planet. What is this? Like, that was bad. But it's fixed now. There's a bunch of different things you can do if you get bored to switch up and, you know, kind of mix it up and do different things. But that's one of the big ones you obviously want to do to find loot and stuff. But it's slow. It's mellow. It's methodical.
Well, the thing is, like, I farmed inventory slots. That's the first thing I did. I think I'm 2 away from max inventory slots right now.
Nice.
And then I farmed languages, because I hate the fucking broken up bullshit. And then Artemis is like, hey, I'll give you a translator. And I was like, yay, finally, something that'll let me understand these things. No, it only lets you understand one person.
Oh, yeah, the guy that you need to talk to? Yeah.
I was like, wait, I thought she just gave me a universal translator.
No, that'd be too easy.
What the fuck is this? And I have a terrain manipulator, which I have no idea what the fuck that does.
That thing's kind of cool, but until you know what to do with it, it's just there in your inventory. It's only used in very specific circumstances, which is not the greatest. But you can... So, if you find... one thing you start finding a little later in the game on certain planets is crashed freighters. And if you use your scanner when you're standing in the freighter, it'll show you cargo that's been buried, and you can dig up pieces and get like tons of money and nanites and stuff for doing it. But you need the terrain manipulator the terrain manipulator can be used to build hills or to tear away terrain, and you basically just dig using it. It's interesting.
Can I dig to the planet's core?
You can try. You can dig surprisingly far, surprisingly fast. But I don't know how far you can dig. It's okay, I guess. It's kind of cool because you get a bunch of loot. It's just a weird concept, but it's a thing.
I shall go find the mole people.
Do it. Dig super down.
That's what I'm going to do.
But like right now, I'm literally just mining gold from a giant egg thing, and then like taking breaks every few minutes to walk away and get more fuel for my gun. And I'm going to do that for a while. And if that doesn't sound fun for you, then maybe No Man's Sky isn't the game for you.
Oh, those big egg things I farm with my ship.
Do you? Do you just shoot at them?
Yeah, just shoot them with the laser from my ship, and it just like tears them apart in like 2 minutes.
Does it completely tear them apart? Because for me, it just like it makes them disappear, but then you only get a little bit of gold, and then they just like reload.
No, you got to land your ship and then run around outside and pick it all up.
Oh, okay. You know what? That's probably a better idea. What am I doing?
What am I doing?
I'm making a lot of money, but it's slow. It's slow going.
But.
So No Man's Sky, I give it a 6, maybe a 7. It's good for some people. It's not good for everyone.
Still a 5.
Still 5.
Still 5.
Light 5, strong 6 on No Man's Sky. But there's other stuff going on. We're getting out of the summer lull, and there's things happening.
Yep.
Literally.
Okay.
Right now.
Can we talk about Destiny 2 for a second?
I was just gonna say, fucking Destiny 2's coming out tonight. My roommate's super hype on it because he's like watching streamers right now, getting ready to make his build and everything.
Okay, so I watched a bunch of stuff on Destiny 2 because Destiny 2 comes out tonight, and from what everybody from the one thing I said, they were like the first 12 hours of Destiny 2 make Destiny 1 look like a bad game.
Yeah, and I saw that headline. I saw Austin post that from Polygon.
Yes.
And I was like, all right, maybe...
I had to read it.
Did you read it?
I had to read it.
I didn't read it, but what did it say? What was
it
the
just
gist?
says like all the problems that we had with Destiny are gone.
Man, that
And
makes me
that
happy.
makes me want to play the game.
It makes me happy, but also infuriates me because, like, why couldn't they just have done that for the first one? Like, some of the problems in the first one were like, how did you not see that as a problem when you were making the game? But all right, we'll have to check it out. I'm waiting for reviews to drop later. I guess the embargo's still up.
Yeah, there's review. If you go to GameSpot, you can read the review in progress.
Okay, I'm down with those
because, like, that's the kind of stuff. Like Polygon, I'm a little iffy about. Because they used to have Jim Sterling, which they don't anymore. But I fucking can't stand Jim Sterling.
I like his review sometimes, but
no. Not even. He's not a sometimes person. He is a don't fucking listen to this guy.
He's very egotistical and opinionated, for sure. I think sometimes he can have some interesting insight, but again, very, very egotistical.
He reminds me very much of Phil Fish.
Oh no! Don't talk about Phil Fish. God damn it!
Oh, you can't say his name one more time. He'll appear.
I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just gonna keep mining this gold that I'm wasting my energy on.
But so that makes it. For reading all the stuff and watching some streamers play Destiny 2, it really makes me want to play Destiny 2.
Okay.
But I'll wait. Like that's one of those games where I'm like, maybe I'll wait. Like I'm afraid that if I wait and by the time I pick it up, I won't be able to play with anybody.
Yeah.
But I think that if I pick it up now, there's a sweet spot where I can wait, where after like the first 2 weeks and people are like, oh, this game this is what needs to be fixed, and they fix all the things that are wrong with the game, and then you jump in, I think that's the sweet spot, like 2 weeks after release.
That's fair. Okay. Well, I guess we'll be watching those reviews then when they trickle in, I guess tomorrow or tonight, when the embargo lifts. You know what game didn't have a review embargo? Actually, you know what? It did, but it was until today.
What's that?
Knack 2.
I heard the game is amazing.
I heard it was fucking awful, but...
I heard that it's amazing. And by amazing, I mean amazingly bad.
Okay, good. Because I saw a review that was like, Knack 2 basically just shows that even Sony doesn't know what the hell Knack is or is supposed to be.
Well, Knack 2 has a 70% on Metacritic.
Really?
It has a 70% on Metacritic and a user score of 7.7.
Okay. What kind of reviews is it getting? Because the one I saw was like a 5.5.
Okay. It's got 3 positive.
Who does that?
We don't need the ad to play. We're in the middle of a podcast here, ad, because I'm on Metacritic. Game Over Online gave it a 95. Attack of the Fanboy gave it an 80.
Attack of the Fanboy gave it an 80. Yeah. Attack of the Fanboy is one I don't know too much about, but I've heard a lot of things lately about them as a gaming news site. They pretty solid?
I don't know. I don't really read video game news very often.
Okay.
The video game news I read is from press releases that are sent to me via email.
Nice.
Let's see. IGN gave it a 72.
Alright.
What did the IGN say? The pacing is spot on, the combat satisfying, and the gameplay varied. Co-op is genuinely fun. Good fun, too. And most definitely the best way for younger gamers to get into the action. Knack 2 is definitely a step up from the original then. But until the writing and characterizations improve drastically, it's not going to be a true first-party titan.
That's fair.
So.
Okay. So, you guys can probably skip on Knack 2 if you're excited. I'm sorry. Maybe check out Destiny. See what's going on with that. But we got some other new games that are getting announced and stuff, at least.
We now know officially that Borderlands 3 is in development.
We do, and that 90% of Gearbox is working on it.
Yes.
Although, obviously, They haven't announced it yet, which raises questions, but I guess we'll see. I'm guessing it's going to be fucking gigantic.
I'm guessing it's going to be really fucking big.
Yeah, with multiple planets and shit, I could see that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're excited, but I'm kind of excited. No More Heroes 3 got announced.
I did not see that. No More Heroes 3 got announced?
It's not called No More Heroes 3. It's called Travis Strikes Back, subtitle No More Heroes. But it is No More Heroes 3. And it was announced during the Nindies conference last week, where Nintendo showed off a bunch of indie games. Yeah, it just came out of nowhere, and people were like, what the fuck, No More Heroes 3? And apparently they're doing a bunch of crossovers with a bunch of other indie games, like Shovel Knight's going to show up in it for some reason. And potentially a couple others, which is interesting. But I'm just excited to see No More Heroes. Those games were awesome. Are you looking at it right now?
No, I'm reading the stuff on Resident Evil 7.
Oh, yeah. Another thing I was going to talk about. Resident Evil 7 Gold Edition got announced, which is all the DLC, including 2 new DLCs, one of which is the fabled Not a Hero, which is coming out December 15th.
And it's free.
We know nothing about it.
No,
other
we do.
than that it's coming out December 15th. Do we know more about it?
It stars veteran Chris Redfield, who will have to face the horrors that lurked underneath the Baker's mansion. That is what we know about it. I'm reading the press release. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm checking my email.
Read the press release. Read it all day. That sounds good. Anything we know about that thing? Because it's been fucking 6 months since you beat Resident Evil... Wow. Since you beat Resident Evil 7.
Which was a great game.
I had a lot of fun watching it while I was huddled in misery.
The other big news that I wanted to talk about was Dead Rising 4 is coming to PlayStation 4.
I did not see that. Is it really?
Oh shit, I really hope this isn't embargoed.
Well...
Hold on, let me check this email quick.
I heard... Oh shit, okay. Well, we can cut that out of the podcast. You can just cut it out. Mr. Snippy Snip. Mr. Snippy Snip can show up. Okay, no. It's just got announced earlier today.
No, it got announced. Okay, yes. Dead Rising 4 is coming to PlayStation 4 in December. It's called Frank's Big Package.
Yeah.
It's the Dead Rising 4 main game, plus all the DLC, plus it's going to have a bunch of, outfits for other Capcom characters, like you used to be able to in Dead Rising.
Yeah.
And that makes me sad but happy at the same time, because I'll probably pick this up and play it on PS4, and it's making me think of, why the fuck do I have an Xbox One?
Well, I was going to say, you and Hollow expressed some pretty mixed opinions on Dead Rising 4, right?
Yeah, I've gotten to see videos, and I have assets which I'm not allowed to share. These have do not share on them.
Ooh.
And the game looks very interesting, and more fun, and more over the top, and more Dead Rising-y than the game looked on originally on Xbox One.
Yeah, wasn't a lot of the hype for Dead Rising 4 that it was gonna bring Dead Rising back, and then it kind of didn't.
Because this is the thing with Dead Rising is, Dead Rising was the zombie kill game where it was just crazy and fun, and it was like State of Emergency met Left 4 Dead, and they really took that on in Dead Rising 3. I thought Dead Rising 3 was a really good game, and I thought Dead Rising 2 was a good game. And Dead Rising 4, it's more of a straight kind of serious story, weird game that you're back in Willamette. And I was like, why is this game so serious? Let me have let me combine bowling balls and a leaf blower and have a bowling ball bazooka. And the cool weapons are still there. It's just after Sunset Overdrive came out.
Yeah.
This just seems tame in comparison.
Oh, I could see that. Sunset Overdrive, another game I've wanted to play but just haven't because it's Xbox.
So, it made me happy to see that Dead Rising 4 was coming to PS4.
Alright. Well, maybe I'll pick it up when it's cheap then. Give it a try.
You should pick it up when it's cheap. I'll probably pick it up on PS4 as well.
Okay. Any other news that you can think of looking at your press releases?
There's some card nerfs coming to Hearthstone, which look like they're going to drastically change the game as we know it.
I know of a couple little pieces of news that are kind of interesting for some people.
Going through, we got the announcement for PlayStation Plus games and Xbox Live games Gold.
Yeah, was it Infamous and Child of Light are September's games?
Something like that.
Which is sounds fair.
Oh, I got a press release that Mario is no longer a plumber.
Yeah, I saw that article, which is weird. Like, it's a tiny thing, but people are getting all bent out of shape about it. Like, his official profile on, is it Nintendo.com?
Yes.
Says that he is no longer a plumber, but he used to be. Which
it said that
I
he
guess
used to be a plumber. It doesn't say that he is no longer a plumber. It just says, and at one time was a plumber.
Okay.
And
he still is a plumber, but he used to be too.
So.
To quote Mitch Hedberg. What do you think about this? Do you care? Is this bullshit? What do you think?
I don't think that it's news. I think it's fake news.
I think it's fake news as well.
I'm like, that's cool. I'd rather like there's other cool things actually going on.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's cool. Like the reviews for Skyrim for the Switch. Well,
are they
first impressions are coming out because people finally got to play it, and everybody's like, "Yeah, this is exactly what I wanted from Skyrim."
All right.
Like it's Skyrim on the go and you can find Nintendo themed items throughout it.
Oh, nice. Okay, that's exciting.
So it's like. You can wear the red overalls, the Hylian shield and the Master Sword's in it. Link's tunic's in it. So.
Nice.
I don't know.
Sounds good to me.
Call of Duty World War II beta was this past weekend.
Yeah, do we have any first impressions on that? Anybody we know played it, or you see any thoughts on it?
No.
I'm curious. I'm really curious to see.
I watched like some people play it, but I was like, oh, that's cool. It's another shooter that doesn't look like it's anything interesting.
Okay. Because I was hoping it would be another Battlefield 1 in that it would like kind of revolutionize or kind of mix up Call of Duty enough to something interesting and unique again, but maybe not.
Here's some news. This is Chris news.
Okay.
Chris news, okay?
Chris
news. They announced 3 new amiibos.
Oh, God.
Okay. They announced Plague Knight, Spectre Knight, and King Knight amiibos.
I did hear about that, and I heard they got Ego Raptor to do a very sensual reveal video for them. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I did not.
Well, you don't like him anyway, so that's fine.
But yes, they did. They 3 new Shovel Knight amiibos.
Okay.
That's Chris news.
That is Chris news. Are you going to get the Shovel Knight amiibos?
I might.
Okay. Do people still get amiibos? I guess so.
Yeah, they sell out.
Yeah, immediately.
Like, really quickly.
Fucking amiibos, man.
I was big on I need to collect all the amiibos for a little while. And then I was like, nope, I just want the Zelda ones. And I've stuck by that for the most part. Like, there's a few other ones that I'll pick, like, the weird ones I'll pick up.
Specifically, the Zelda ones to get more stuff in Breath of the Wild?
No.
Okay. Just because Zelda? Because why not?
Yeah. Because it's Zelda and it's me.
Okay. That's cool. I can respect that. People collecting stuff.
I
anything
collect action figures, that's what I do.
You do. Anything else of note for news on your end?
I don't think so. I think that's like that was something I saw yesterday. a few days ago, and I was like, oh, when are they going to go up pre-order on Amazon so I can pre-order them?
Okay. Well, speaking of Chris news, I don't know if you heard this, but the Binding of Isaac is getting a legit prequel that's coming out next year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I saw an article about that. I didn't dig into it too much, but it sounded like it was an official announcement. So for those of you who like Binding of Isaac, which apparently has a massive fan community, right?
Yes.
Because it's so intricate of a game.
Yes, and they hide shit really well in these games.
Yeah, people spend like hours and hours. Oh no, actually, it's on target for this year. The Legend of Bumbo is what it's called.
The Legend of Bumbo?
Yeah, and it's Bumbo spelled BUM-BO. In a recent Twitter AMA, McMillan, who created Binding of Isaac and this game, he confirmed it's not only going to be a prequel, but that it's still set for release in December.
The Legend of Bumbo.
And they released a trailer.
It's a turn-based puzzle RPG type thingy that randomly generated.
A turn-based puzzle type RPG.
RPG thingy.
Okay.
This is from the bindingofisaac.com post where they announced it.
Nice. Are you going to get in on this?
Yeah, of course
You're into
I am.
Isaac. Yeah. I was going to say, you're super into Binding of Isaac. That's cool.
Yeah, I'm really into Binding of Isaac.
So speaking of some Kaleb news, on the Kaleb end of the spectrum, Chuck Tingle has a game.
Who?
That's coming out this year. Do you know who Chuck Tingle is?
I know who Tingle the Fairy is, yes.
Chuck Tingle is the guy who writes such horrible parody fan fictions, such as Donald Trump pounded in the butt by Russian dinosaurs and things like that. You've never seen this guy?
No.
He's literally this super weird, like, fake character who's literally just meant as a satire of all of the super gross and crappy, like, erotic fan fiction that gets pushed to Amazon.
Okay.
So let me show you just like the name, and his books are like total garbage, but they're like super tongue in cheek. Yeah, so one of his most famous ones is Space Raptor Butt Invasion, which came out 2015.
Wait, I think I've heard of Space Raptor Butt Invasion.
And he literally writes these entire books that are just trash, but like very like self-aware, tongue in cheek garbage.
That
and he has
is the
a really,
best cover in the world. Yes, I've seen this.
It's so good. But apparently, coming out soon, billionaire Elon's mug takes the handsome planet Mars in his butt. There you go.
Taken by the gay unicorn biker.
Yeah, and he calls his books Tinglers. And if you've ever seen like interviews with him on the internet, he's the fucking weirdest dude in the world.
Okay, I'm sorry, but I want to read this. Seduced by Dr. Bigfoot, attorney at large.
Yeah, it's he loves dinosaurs and mythical characters and gay anal sex. So, he has a game coming out that apparently has like 3 different titles that are all just terrible, just Tingle type like names. I could barely get through like the announcement because it's just ridiculous. But that's coming. I don't even know what it is. I just know it's a Chuck Tingle game. And apparently some famous people have signed on to do voices and to appear in it. So, check that out if you have a weird sense of humor and you don't mind a lot of jokes about being pounded in the butt. It was kickstarted, which I didn't even know.
Kickstarted in the butt, a Chuck Tingle digital eventual by Zoe Quinn.
Yeah. By Zoe Quinn. Zoe Quinn, yeah. Ooh. She is attached, so if you have problems with her...
Oh, I guess I won't be... I guess we'll be cutting that out of the podcast.
Oh, jeez. Alright, well... Anyway, you know what else is also coming out in Kaleb news, which we can talk about, is Swery's new game, Swery, Hidetaka Swery, the guy who created what's it called? Deadly Premonition.
Okay.
Have you seen the Kickstarter for his new game?
I don't think so.
It's basically Deadly Premonition, but it's just way fucking weirder. And you play as a young photographer who's living from New York, who's living in a small town in England, trying to solve a murder mystery, and for some reason the townspeople turn into cats at night because reasons. But it's apparently going to be the same open-ended world as Deadly Premonition, just not so big and expansive and empty. And he's trying to get like $1 million to make it right now.
The Good Life.
Yeah, it looks pretty interesting. It also sounds really complicated. I don't know if he's going to get enough, if that's going to be enough money to make it. But, I mean, it's one to pay attention to.
I backed the Deadly Premonition board game.
Did that come out yet?
No, it's not out, but the Kickstarter ended.
Okay.
But I did back that.
What was the Deadly Premonition board game? How do you play it? Is it like a murder mystery?
It's a murder mystery with cards.
Okay, that sounds pretty fun. That could be fun.
It looked like a lot of fun. I'm big into board games, so.
Okay. Well, for people who like Swery, and I guess I don't know if he's ever even going to finish D4 for Xbox One, but did you ever play that game?
No.
That game's fucking bananas. And it's literally only like a couple chapters, like a few hours, and it's like, I think it's like a third to a quarter of what the game was supposed to be, and it's just unfinished. And it ends on the most fucking banana scene ever, and it just ends. So, check it out if you like weird bullshit, but it's never gonna end. So keep that in mind. But yeah, there's things going on in the gaming world. Things are happening again. It's exciting. Stuff's going to come out. I'm going to be watching all of the Destiny reviews to see what people say about it because I'm super interested.
Yeah, because we have to talk about the Nindies.
I didn't actually watch them because I think I was coming back from. All I saw was the No More Heroes announcement trailer.
Again, No More Heroes.
Yeah, all I saw was that because it was such a big deal. But were there any other things that were pretty interesting?
Super Meat Boy Forever, Shovel Knight King of Cards.
Oh, Super Meat Boy Forever is a legit sequel as well.
Yes, it is.
Which sounds awesome.
Which is done by the same people that did Binding of Isaac, so it's cool.
Yes, it is. Edmund McMillan and his team. Yeah.
Mom Hid My Game, Golf Story, Floor Kids, Wolverblade, Polybridge, Kentucky Route Zero TV edition.
Oh, Kentucky Route Zero is coming out on consoles.
Yes.
Actually, which is awesome. It means more people will get to play it. I never finished that game. I always meant to go back to it.
The 5th act isn't out yet.
No, it is not finished. I think the 4th act just came out like earlier this year, right?
Yes, this is a game I've been playing for like 5 years.
Yeah, I beat the first act, and then I started playing the second one and just never finished. And that was like back when the second had just come out, I want to say. And that was, oh god, that was back when I was still working security.
SteamWorld Dig 2.
Which apparently looks pretty interesting, if you like SteamWorld Dig.
I love SteamWorld Dig. I thought the game was too short. That was my biggest problem with it. Malacca, Yono and the Celestial Elephants, Dragon Marked for Death, Battle Chef Brigade, Morphe's Law.
Morphe's Law?
Sausage Sports Club, which sounds like one of those things that one of those tinglers.
Sausage Sports Club.
Little Fingers, 9 Parchments, and No More Heroes, Travis Strikes Again.
Nice.
So that's everything that was announced at the Nindies.
So good stuff is starting to come out on the Switch as we head later into the year.
There's a lot of good games out on the Switch. I just don't have money for a Switch right now.
Yeah.
I want to play Rabbids so bad.
Rabbids got some really solid reviews. It looks like a legitimately fun game. I think did that come out recently? I just remember we never talked about it on the cast.
Yep.
Okay.
That came out last week, I believe, or the week before.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I saw the reviews and everything drop and talking about how fun it was.
There's an Until Dawn prequel got announced.
Yeah, the VR one.
Yeah.
I like Until Dawn. I don't understand the need for VR specific prequels.
We talked about this last week. Well, 2 weeks ago, me and Austin, about how VR is dumb.
VR is still dumb. Like I feel like it's going to take a while to really, really take off, and we're still in a weird period where people don't necessarily know what to do with it, and there's some kind of cool stuff coming out, but nothing that's cool enough to like really sell people on it, unless you're already sold on it. So I don't even know
think VR is ever going to catch on.
You don't think so?
I think VR is going to be like motion controls.
I think the idea of like fully immersing yourself in a world can still find ground somewhere. I just don't know if the time for that is now.
Oh, I think maybe in the future it'll take on. But what we have right now, like the Oculus is the best of the best.
Yeah.
And it's still, like, to buy an Oculus headset is still like $600.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's a problem. And PSVR is still $500, and that's not a great headset.
And then you have to buy a PS4 for it. And then you gotta buy controllers for it.
Yeah, it's like, it's not great.
The barrier to entry is massive for not many great choices of games.
So, I just have a problem with, I think VR, now is not the time for VR.
Now is not the time for VR, children. That's a pretty good title, too.
I think that VR will take on, will catch on at some point when we have, like, holograms. Like, good interfacing and good use of the technology. Right now, like, you think of the games that are on VR, the good games that are on VR. I'm not talking about experiences, I'm talking about games. And it's all like the survival horror jump scary stuff. It's very niche and very, very pigeonholed. Until you can get past the... It's like with the Wii, where like everything came out and motion controls were a thing, and everybody just shoved all these games onto the platform with motion control.
I think there are some good, interesting things coming out on it now, but they're few and far between, to the point that like it just still doesn't make sense to buy the whole console for them. Like there was one game where it was like a spy thriller and you were a spy that was put into various like James Bond-esque situations, and you had to like figure your way out through puzzle solving, and you could cause all kinds of horrible accidents if you fucked up, and it had like a very dark sense of humor. And I saw someone play that and it was pretty fun, but like I'd play it for a couple hours. And a lot of the games that are any good for VR just seem like that, if they're not, you know, survival horror jump scare stuff.
Right, and then like you have like the cool experiences, which I think are really neat, like where you can visit a place and walk around and do stuff. But that stuff is still like a ways away from being excellent.
Yeah, there's not like a version of that I can play for like 100 hours and go on a massive Skyrim-esque adventure kind of thing. It's just like they mostly like tasters and teasers and things like that.
Like my thing with VR is I want them to be able to do a VR game where it's like geocaching and the geo scavenger hunts, but in VR. So like you're like, oh, I'm gonna walk around the city of New York, and it is the city of New York, and you can interact with NPCs and stuff that they have set up, and you're kind of like walking around the actual city of New York. But you can't. They don't have that yet. Like, the biggest area they have is, like, this like, realistic-looking house, but there's no NPCs or anything to interact with. It's like, you can open the door. Come on, David Cage, get on that shit, man. It's right up your alley, opening milk to feed my kids.
Opening milk to feed my kids. Basically, VR will be cool when we have holodecks, is what you're saying.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. I can agree with that.
We're not that far away, though.
Are we not?
We're not that far away.
I think we're on the cutting edge of all kinds of really crazy and terrifying scientific breakthroughs right now. I guess
we
that
won't
could
get
be
there.
one
North
of
Korea will wipe us out before then.
Yay, it'll wipe me out. You'll be fine.
Supposedly their IBMs can hit Chicago.
It's still it's still a bit of a ways away from you. You'll be all right.
I don't know.
Forget about it.
Yeah, but if they launch nukes, we'll launch nukes, and China will launch nukes, and then Russia will launch nukes, and then the UK will launch nukes, and then India will launch nukes, and Pakistan will launch nukes, and Israel will launch nukes,
Pakistan
and
will launch nukes. I still feel like we're going to be the ones to launch first as a deterrent. And then, I don't know if it'll be that bad, but it'll be pretty fucking bad. If anything, they'll destroy at least South Korea.
which is bad.
Which is very
Like,
bad.
that's really...
Which in and of itself is still very bad, I admit.
Like, I laugh not because I think it's funny. I laugh because I'm literally scared.
Just gonna... Yeah, it's cool. Things are okay.
No, they're not.
No, they're not.
No, they're not. Things are not okay. The world is
on
fire.
Went over to the UK and hung with my UK coworkers. Brexit and shit. It's scary. It's very scary for them. Just bad all over, man. Just rough all over.
Canada, I hear, is okay.
Canada's doing all right.
Like,
Canada's
Canada,
doing all right.
All right.
They're gonna get through okay, I think.
Like,
it's hard to be mad at Canada for anything.
Yeah, I know. It's really hard to be mad at Canada. Hollowblade, we love you, buddy. God rest your soul.
I can be mad at
He's not actually dead.
But not Canada.
Yeah. All right, you ready to wrap up?
Yeah, I think we've done it pretty good. I think it was pretty good. We can hang our hat on that podcast.
All right, guys.
That's pretty solid.
Before we get out of here, I just want to do something. It's a little personal. I need to wish 2 people a happy birthday at the end of our podcast. One of them is my brother Justin, who turned 14 and started high school today. So happy birthday to my little brother Justin.
That dude just started high school?
He just started high school.
Wow.
Today was his first day of high school, and he said he loved it and he can't wait to go back.
Nice.
The other person is someone who you guys should be familiar with on the show. If you've ever heard our theme song, our good friend Jake, today is his birthday as well, my brother from another mother. So I wanted to wish him a happy birthday. I don't know if he still listens, but I think he does. So happy birthday, Mr. Jake. Remember, guys, you can get in touch with us by sending us by sending us an email to podcast at gamingdeath.com. That's podcast at gamingdeath.com. Like and review us on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, wherever you guys are listening to the podcast. Make sure you guys head over to geekyantics.net for more great shows just like this one, like Horseplay Live, which is live every Thursday at like 10:30-ish. Hosted by the Podfather himself, Yogizilla. Anything else? No, I think that's it.
I think so.
Thank you guys very much. I'm Chris.
I'm Kyle.
Have a good night, everybody.
Night, guys.
All right, guys. Well, hello, YouTube land. Thanks for hanging out tonight. Give you guys a nice little sultry ending here. Guys, make sure you comment and you like and you subscribe and you can hit that bell icon so you get notified when new shows go up. Or you can come over to twitch.tv/gamingdeath every Tuesday at 9:30 p.m. to listen to us live. Be part of the show right here where you probably hear me typey and I'm typing to people and talking to people in the chat.
Is this Gaming Death After Dark?
This is Gaming Death After Dark. Come on, Kyle. How about playing me some of that smooth jazz?
Tonight we're going to talk about the re-release of Night Trap.
Oh, yeah. Night Trap. You guys remember Night Trap? Probably not.
I heard the re-release is total trash, but...
The game was total trash originally.
Yeah. But it's Night Trash. I mean, it's Night Trash. It's Night Trap, so people are buying it.
No, you're right the first time. Night Trash.
It is Night Trash. It's literally Night Trash.
Night Trash. All right, guys, but I want to get back to playing some Dark Souls 2, so we're going to leave you guys with that little tidbit. Don't play Night Trap. It's terrible. Thank you guys for hanging out. Have a good night, guys. We love you.
Bye, guys.